We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this.
And what this is from Samfuego, Habitual Hinkelhatch roasted red pepper, garlic chili sauce. So they do call this a hot sauce on the website, and I believe we have that's a habit forming warning. That doesn't matter. Medium. They're saying medium, and medium is great. And they could say it's light or heavy. It doesn't matter. Those are meaningless terms. So it doesn't have a rating of anything on it, but let's take a look at the ingredient panel here. We have white vinegar, lime juice, assorted peppers. So we have Hatch, Red Bell, and Hinkelhatch. We have garlic, dark chocolate, basil, prickly pear, and random spices. And it looks like black pepper is one of them. So this is the second sauce I've had from them. They use prickly pear in everything. That's kind of their thing, which is a cactus fruit. This is the second sauce I've also had from them with dark chocolate in it. So it does tend to separate a little bit. Like I said in the written review, this was completely separated when I got it, but you can see it's a fairly runny sauce. And let's have a look here at it. Its coloration I'm not a huge fan of. It's this sort of light brownish, kind of funky color. It is tending towards orange a little bit, but you can see there's flecks of all kinds of stuff in there. And it doesn't stick great. It's a little bit runny. I wish it did stick a little bit better, but I don't think there's enough of a sweet component in there to do that, despite there being dark chocolate in it. So, and of course the prickly pear. Initial taste is maybe like an arbol, a little bit of chili powder in there, followed immediately by that vinegar. Very pungent vinegar. I'm getting little bits of the sweet from the prickly pear is pretty noticeable. Also, I'm getting some of the bits of kind of a vague pepper. It does taste a little bit on the side of like a green chili, so like a Hatch or a Hinkelhatch. And that's pretty nice. This is a sauce I didn't latch onto immediately, and part of the problem is that I couldn't figure out what to do with it. It's a very strong, very distinctive flavor out of the gate, and trying to pair it with something. There's other sauces I like death sauce is like that too. Death sauce appeals to me so much though that I could, even if it overpowers everything, I like the taste of the sauce so much that I don't object too much. With this one, it really can be overpowering in a detrimental fashion. And so I went on their website. I didn't mention this in the written review, but I did go on their website and look around to see what they recommended to pair with, which is something I try to do with all the sauces, guys. There's over 200 of them on the blog. And every one of those, if I haven't been able to figure out where it fits, I try to go on the website and say, okay, so these brilliant minds of these brilliant chefs who are coming up with these concoctions, where do they see it being used? And sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. On their website, there's nothing. And I think that is, it's kind of a shame. So, like I said, I tried it on chicken strips. I tried it on burritos. And it wasn't until I tried it with something that had a cheese component, which was the hot ham and cheese hot pockets, like I mentioned, with a creamy cheese sauce. It was actually pretty good. And then I started thinking the ingredients in it, and I said, okay, basil. So basil seems like it might be a fitting companion for like some sort of Italian food, possibly. And so I tried it on pizza. And that's what I have here for you today. What I have here is this Red Baron microwave pizza. So we have to be a little careful here because it can overpower this. So we're just going to try for a little bit of a drizzle here. And I'll show you guys here what it looks like once we get it all set up. Okay, how's that? Pretty good, okay. So here's kind of what we're going with, guys. Can you see that? See, it's all drizzled on there. And you can see it's running. It's like I do this and it runs. So hopefully though I've gotten a good balance with this, because in the setting of cheese and like a cream sort of thing, it makes a very interesting flavor that's pretty unique and that I actually did enjoy quite a bit. So let's get to it. It melds very nicely with pizza. Same as with that hot ham and cheese hot pocket. It's a really unique flavor. One of the weird things about this is that it is somewhat reminiscent in spots to me of an apple cider vinegar, which I'm confused by, but if you get too much of it on there, you'll kind of get a little bit of that. Some people don't mind that flavor. I don't like it. Stinky feet vinegar. Again, very precious little heat. I guess I would say this is a 1 by default. I believe I mentioned that in the written review as well. You can check that out down below the description. I mean, it's not the best sauce I've ever had on a pizza or anything. But that does seem to be a way to make the sauce a lot more enjoyable. Nature's most perfect food. So, I admire the innovation. I do. I think the thing for me, though, is that I'm not saying prickly pear and agave both are cactus type plants, and I don't really like things with either of them, especially it seems like it's turning out. Now, I don't know, because I don't know if I've had prickly pear by itself. I don't think I have. And possibly, like the thing with agave I find is that it's very cloying. And I think that's kind of what I'm finding with this one too. It's got that aspect to it, this sort of cloying aspect to it, that I don't like find favorable in any context at all. And this was fun to try. I like the idea of, roasted red pepper is one of my favoriteest things in the world. And the roasted garlic, I mean, roasting stuff in general you have my attention. And Hinkelhatch is something I almost never see as far as a pepper. And I like the premise here. I just don't think the execution works to my suiting. Like, this is to me a very unique and interesting sauce, and I seriously applaud that. However, it's for me got to be something I want to have over and over again. This is something I would probably try to find uses for, but I think I would ultimately find a bunch of other sauces I liked eating more, and then this one I would just wind up eventually pitching after a few months, after it had been in the fridge long enough for me to finally come to terms with the idea of tossing it. So I think, though, if you're a chili head, this sauce company makes a lot of really interesting things. I think you ought to try something from them, because they're very unique sauces, and I like that part. They're very distinctive. They're very much their own thing. They're not really, I can't say that they remind me of too much of anything other than themselves. So that part I like, and maybe the taste is more resonant with your palate than with mine. For me, they just don't work. They haven't to this point. That's not to say that I won't have anything else from them, but I probably am going to be more judicious as far as choosing anything in the future. So for me, 2 strikes for Samfuego, and if I do wind up getting another one, we're right in the middle of the COVID madness as I film this, but at some point, hopefully it's going to be to a point where we can have hot sauce shops and things like that open again, and I'll be able to try something else from them. And I'm hopeful that I'll find something more interesting. I really like the idea of somebody just going out there and doing something radically and completely different than everybody else. I do. I applaud that. I like that a lot. It just, these sauces just are not striking me right where it counts in the palate. So, anyway, there you have it. Samfuego Habitual Hinkelhatch pepper sauce.
Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.